pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Burris,
Here.
Yoder,
Here.
Basil,
Here.
Lyle,
Yes.
Johnson,
Here.
Blum,
Here.
Seaman,
Yes.
Quorum is present.
You have the agenda in front of you. Do you want any additions to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
existing business number 1, I would like to add and contract behind the update. The Franz grant update and contract.
Number one. Any others? Need a motion to approve? Do you have support?
Support.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. I want to say something before we start the public comments, and that is that in the past, we've had people speaking out of turn, and it almost turned to a debate last meeting. And so I'm telling you tonight, when somebody has the floor to give comments, I don't want to hear any outbursts from anybody, and I don't want to have a debate about it. So we want you to stand, give us your name, your address for the records, so she don't have to look them up, and state what you got, and then the commission, they'll have the opportunity to ask you any questions at the end of the public comments. So we'll open the floor now for public comments. Is there any comments? Ray?
Ray Holloway, 312 Ridge Street, City of Stanton. After last meeting here, I went home and I was looking something up. I thought I would get some proof to prove some of the stuff that I was saying last meeting. And you guys might not be surprised, as I was, but I was wrong. And I would just like to take this time to apologize to each of you for stating something that wasn't true. So that's I do have one more thing. Since there was a big mix-up about registering or getting the papers filled out and getting on the ballot this year, I was wondering if the city would entertain the idea of publishing all the candidates that are available and how they are to be voted, if they're writing candidates or if they're on the ballot before the election. Just a thought. Thank you.
Any other public comments? We'll move. Has the commission got any questions they want to ask at this time of the public? If not, we'll move on to the standing items. Okay, you need to look at the minutes for October the 10th this year. Are there any corrections? If not, we will have a motion to approve the minutes of October the 10th.
So moved. Support.
Okay. Any questions at this, any debate? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Now we got the bills for the last half of October. Any questions there?
What was high grade materials?
If I might, that was the concrete barriers that we use to store our sand gravel.
Oh.
Like,
And then to pay the penalty fee, for the taxes on, Wells's property there. And it looks like it came out of materials and supplies is the description.
I mean, 2 seconds.
Okay. And I don't know if that's just a label in BSNA software, but it just didn't seem right to me.
Yeah, we will adjust that. Excuse me. We will adjust that. That will end up not coming out of that. It will be the same fund. It will still come out of the general fund, but not that department.
Okay, so then materials and supplies is a section of the general fund?
Yes,
Okay, so then the,
because that has to do with the 257 is the assessors.
so then the barriers that we got for the DPW, that came out of the general or within the DPW section of the budget?
DPW is part of the general.
So, okay.
Yes.
So,
If you see 101, that is your general fund. The very first number, your 101-441, the 101 is general fund.
okay.
And then it tells the
Any other questions? We need a motion to approve the bills. Do we have support?
No support.
We have a motion and support to pay the bills. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Now we need the DPW report. Anything you want to add to your report?
No.
Okay. We need the city manager's report. Anything you want to add to your report?
No, I just want to reiterate, because this is the first year that it's been happening, that the city staff and I will be here at City Hall passing out candy for all of the wonderful trick-or-treaters here in town. So tell everybody you know, send their kids to City Hall.
Existing business.
Mayor, I'd just like to make a comment.
Okay.
I became aware of something that Ithaca was doing, and I'd like to suggest it for the future.
Okay.
And that is that they are having their trick-or-treating downtown. Businesses agreed to open up that evening. People bring their candy down to the downtown area, and kids go around the downtown area picking up the candy. That eliminates having to go through all the neighborhoods and having to do all that at the houses, and creates a more, I believe, safe environment. So I would suggest that it be suggested to the merchants or whatever group needs to be notified or requested from, that they consider having a trick-or-treat downtown.
And Carl, when you're saying that everyone, the residents included, come to the downtown?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes,
Okay.
the residents come with their candy,
Yep.
and the kids come for the candy.
And vice versa.
where are we at with this?
Franz has put before the commission it would be the paperwork, and then I will open up the floor to Franz.
Well, what we have now is, from, what we need from the commission is just to say, yes, all right, we're gonna go, you approve us going for $300,000 community development block grant from MEDC in terms of the facade improvement. And the only thing at this point in time that the council and the city is committing to is to commit $50,000, but that's only if that in fact it's successful. If it's not successful for 300, or if it's less than that, then it gets reduced commensurate to whatever that percentage reduction is. And what we're looking at is the 4-block area in terms of downtown, in terms of the key businesses and the key locations in the downtown area.
You just mentioned 50,000? It says 100,000?
Well, 50,000 is the maximum, but that would be if in fact there's the whole $300,000, and now that's the next step in terms of the process for MEDC and the community development block grant process, and that is, okay, now we can decide, or we can negotiate with them in terms what's available, what are they willing to commit, and that gets reduced. If it's not that amount, percentage-wise, whatever, if it's 200,000 that they're willing to commit, then it gets reduced by that amount. And this is just a commitment to say, all right, we're taking that next step in terms of getting that grant into process at MEDC. And if you look at that, there are several vacant storefronts, many unused upstairs downtown locations, all kinds of things that need to be developed in terms of downtown Stanton to make it a viable location economically. And when you look at the number of people that are driving through here on a daily basis and the number of people that work here on a daily basis, because it is the county seat, this is something that we really need to deal with.
Ron, on your grant request, you say you're requesting $300,000 grant for $400,000 facade improvement. And you say local match was $100,000, you say 50 now, is that?
The other 50,000, that's local, that would be at least the minimum amount by property owner. They would be part of that. Absolutely. No, it's not just a commitment by the city of $50,000. You've got to also have those people who have property have got to participate in that process.
All right, so part of the 100,000 that the city's come up with could be from the city or from the property owner?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Mayor, who owns those buildings right now?
Hmm?
Who owns the buildings downtown now?
Property owners.
That's right. Who owns those buildings?
I'm not sure what your question is.
Who owns the properties that would be improved upon?
The property owners. That's why they're part of the process.
Could you tell me who the property owners are, please?
Yeah, I could. If you need a list of all the names of them.
Well, it would be nice to know who's benefiting from it, yes.
That's the next step. Carl,
Don't
come on.
laugh at me.
You've been through this process for, you know, the next step, you've got to have the state say, yes, this is important enough to us to commit some dollars, and then you work with the property owners. You're not going to the property owners until you have something to offer to them.
But I'd like to know who we anticipate benefiting.
We anticipate the property owners on Main Street own those properties.
Yes,
but they have to also participate in terms of commitment of dollars.
And to know who they are would be helpful to know whether we think that they would be willing to do that.
Well, until you know that you have something to offer to them, and you can't go to them and say, oh, hey, if you provide, that's what we're trying to make this next step, to say, what is the state, does they think Stanton is important enough to them to commit some dollars, if in fact you get this commitment from the property owners and from the city, that we will in fact give you these grant dollars.
Am I under the understanding then that you have not talked to these
I have talked to
property
some of them.
owners? All of them?
No, not all of them. You only, in this particular grant process for a community of this size, you only need 2 property owners to be participating. We want a lot more because we have a lot more property owners who need help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we be in communication with them?
Why would we be in communication with them before we find out whether or not the state is willing to support this project?
Because they have to have buy-in. And if they're not willing to,
You're not committing to anything except saying to the state, we're interested in this project. And is Stanton important enough to you as a state to say, we want to help you, and then we can go to the property owners with something in hand which says, yes, we've got something to offer to you, and are you willing to be part of this?
my personal opinion is we're getting the cart before the horse.
Carl, I have done with this many more years than you have, and I'm telling you, you can't go to those people and offer them something that you don't have anything to back you up and say that you've got a resource back here which says if you buy into this, then we'll give you this. You need to have a commitment.
Offer, I was saying, see if they are interested.
They are interested.
You said you didn't talk to all of them.
No, I didn't say it. I haven't talked to all of them.
How many have you talked to and who is it?
I'm not going into that.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
You can't.
Any other commissioners have questions before we move on to the contract?
Are we acting on this?
That's the next part, yes, because it is time.
No, but I mean, are we acting on, excuse me, I pointed the wrong thing. Are we acting on this?
Oh, on this,
Yes.
that is your guys' discretion. I just had this today and not really had a whole lot of time to figure out and make sure that we do have the funds available.
When's the deadline for applying for this?
This particular grant is anytime.
So in other words,
What is needed is a resolution or a statement from this council that they're willing to move ahead with this so that we can then communicate to the state of Michigan which says, yes, we're willing to consider this for the city of Stanton as a possible grant opportunity, and we can start that negotiation with them, and then we know that we can go to these property owners and say, all right, here's your opportunity.
So what happens if the state says, yes, you're worthy of however many dollars, and then what if we don't have buy-in from enough of them to put up their own funds?
Well, two possibilities. One is the state, we're not going to say, they say we're not going with 300,000, we'll go with 200,000. Okay, then you have a reduced amount. As I said, then the whole thing becomes a reduced amount. If the state, if you had no property owners that buy in, then you don't have the match that you need from the property owners in terms of what's required. Then that's their decision.
So then you would just decline the grant
You're
without
not
asking?
making any, you're not making, at this point in time, you're not making any commitment in terms of either the city dollars or property owner dollars. What you're saying is, this is what we want to have happen, and we're want to move ahead to see if there are grant dollars and if the state is willing, through the Community Development Block Grant Program for facades, to say, yep, we'll commit these amount of dollars if you can get these dollars in terms of private participation.
So there's no penalty if it falls through, like to be looked down upon for
No.
future opportunities?
No. No, no, not at all at this point in time. This is the first step in terms of saying, yep, we want to go for this. We want to do this for our downtown, and we want to see whether or not these grant dollars are available so we can help develop the downtown. No, there's no downside on this one.
When do we anticipate having a resolution?
It would be at the next meeting. That's why I said that I had just received this today and not had a chance to put the resolution together.
Any other questions?
I do. On this that we have in front of us, this is just a draft of what you're gonna submit on? Because it says from Grove Street to Cook Street. I wanted to make sure it's Grove Street.
Yeah, Grove, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just a typo in there. There's just a typo in there.
Yeah,
I
but-
want to make sure.
That's my typo.
So, would you explain it? I'm not clear on exactly the process. So you're saying you have at least 2 business owners that are interested that you've talked to, and you want to propose or send this
The first,
forward?
this is just a first step to say to Michigan Economic Development Corporation that we're interested in looking at pursuing a facade grant for the downtown. And if they say, yeah, we're interested in that, and you're interested in that, then we can begin to talk to them about specifics in terms of how much you're willing to commit, how much do we have to commit, and then we can go to business owners and say, we've got this commitment from the state that they're interested in this, and are you willing to participate? You can't do anything to go to these property owners and these people until there's a statement which says, yes, we're interested as a city here, and the state's interested in participating. And that's all this is. You're not committed to any dollars initially of any kind, and you've got to come back at every step on this in terms of saying, okay, now the state's saying, yeah, if you raise this amount of money and you get these many people involved, then that's what I said. You've got to come back and you've got to have them agree, and you've got to agree to that. This is just the next step to say, all right, to the state, we're really interested in this as a community.
Okay, and to reiterate, as Jane stated, if you get, DC to say that, yeah, we'll give you X amount of dollars, and none of the other property owners want to participate or can put forth the money, there is no detriment to us.
No,
So you don't lose anything by submitting and asking for.
no, you're making no dollar commitment
Correct.
other than saying, this is what we're going to start asking for. And we're asking for $300,000, and as a community, as a city, we're saying, we're willing to commit $50,000, and private property owners are going to do another $50,000. If we don't, that's all negotiable. I mean, there's no dollar commitment other than to say, we want to move ahead on this opportunity.
And what is your concern, Carla?
Because we'll be paying consulting fees for him to write the grant and spending all that time
Aren't
doing that, when in reality, we should be in communication with the building owners, see what their intentions are, see what their plans are for the future, see what could be done with it. I find interesting the statement, and I'm making this statement because this may be my last commission meeting due to the election, says the facade grant program is based on the premise that coordinated exterior improvements will stimulate additional private investments in the building and the surrounding area, attracting and increase additional customers, thereby resulting in additional downtown economic opportunities. While a facade program may be nice, just putting a nice face on something is not necessarily going to stimulate the economic activity. I think it's a little erroneous to say this does not commit us to anything. It commits us to the time and the money to make the grant. To write the grant. And so there is dollars being laid out for it, to the tune of $1,000 a month. And the longer we do this kind of thing, the longer we'll be paying that. And that's my concern. Thank you.
Stan has been stagnant for so long, I can't see why we didn't have anything to lose here. I mean, we need to get something going downtown. You can't talk to people till you know you got the money available. It seems to me that we're not committing anything at this stage, and we can't do studies on a people's property, we can't do anything. We can get a commitment in general to do this. And it seemed like we've got nothing into it except working on the grant, and if it works out fine, if it doesn't, I guess that's it. It isn't fine, but we don't try it, we're never gonna get anything.
There's definitely a lot to do in this town to fix the downtown area. There's no doubt about it. So what is your pleasure?
I think we'll say the chief will make a recommendation for it, right?
You're making a recommendation that we move ahead or not?
At the next meeting, I will give my recommendation.
Okay.
Move ahead of the agenda, because this is gonna come up next meeting.
Yes. And then, if the commission would like, would you like, what would be your pleasure? To discuss the contract tonight or wait for the next meeting with my recommendation on this particular program?
Seems to me they're all tied together.
That's kind of what I was thinking, so I just wanted to make sure. So, okay.
I object to that.
Okay.
I believe that the contract is up and needs to be voted on.
I kind of feel that same way too, because really, I think it was like a month ago, correct? So we're already past date on that. So are we paying, do we pay this month? Well, I'm just,
Yeah, no.
we approved the bills, but I didn't know that that was up. You know what I mean? So, I feel like I shouldn't wait. If the contract is up, then the contract is up.
That's why I said at the pleasure of the commission. I just know that they're, like, as Commissioner Miles said, that they are kind of tied together, so that's why I wanted to know what the commission would like to do.
So Carl, are you making a motion?
Well, if there's no other comment by any other commissioner.
Any other comments? I think we should decide whether or not we're gonna do the second part of this, or we're kind of stuck here. You want this all to come at the next meeting, or what? I think we should table this, both these. If not, then we need a motion to talk about the contract, I guess.
What exactly is on the agenda to decide about the contract, whether to extend it or?
Extend or terminate, or not terminate, basically, we just I'm trying to see what this be done. You just wouldn't read it. My recommendation would be that since we are tabling the first item until the next meeting, would be to wait until that recommendation for the next meeting. But like I said, it's the pleasure of the commission.
Being that there's something in motion here up in limbo, I make a motion that we table it to the next meeting.
Do we have support?
I support.
I have concern with that because at the next meeting, there could potentially be 3 brand new members that have no idea what's going on. I remember my first night being in the commission, I was like a deer in the headlights. And so this feels to me like something that we've started. And if we wait, then it's going to be passed on to potentially people that they're not gonna know what to do, how to vote on this. Really, it's almost the same with the facade grant, like, and I'm not saying let's vote on that tonight. I wish that we would have had that in front of us sooner so that we could have thought about that for tonight, because again, to have a packed agenda for the first meeting of new commissioners is not pretty, I don't think. Now, hopefully there will
You could
be,
run again, it would be all new.
hopefully there will be some veterans that, you know, like, that are around, but it concerns me, to say the least.
I've asked you what you want to do, so we gotta have a motion.
There's a
There
motion.
is a motion.
We already have a motion and a support.
Motion
That was
to-
my discussion.
Or, yeah,
That we
okay,
discussed.
That was
to
my-
table it. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay?
Nay.
Okay.
What was the count?
3-3.
I say we table it then. That brings up the item of the downtown trees.
Okay, Matthew with Franny Newhoff has prepared which is in your guys' packet, the recommendation for